And moving on, another day, another groundbreaking discovery in Israel, and taking a page straight out of Genesis, where Lot's wife was turned into a pillar of salt.
She turned around for just one moment, one forbidden glance back at her burning hometown. And in that instant, Lot's wife became something that would stand as a warning for thousands of years. Today, that warning might still be standing in the Israeli desert. But what researchers discovered about this pillar of salt will leave you questioning everything. The Hebrew University of Jerusalem made an announcement that shook the archaeological world. Israel is home to the world's largest salt cave system. But that's not the real story. The real story lies in what stands just outside these caves, a lone pillar that has captured imaginations for over 2,000 years. Genesis chapter 19 tells us exactly what happened. Two angels arrived in Sodom with a terrifying message. The city would burn. Yet Lot gathered his family and ran toward the small town of Zoar. The instructions were crystal clear. Don't look back. But as fire and brimstone rained from heaven, Lot's wife did the unthinkable. She looked back. The Bible says she became a pillar of salt in that very moment. Not a metaphor, not a symbol. A real transformation in real time at a real place. And here's where it gets interesting. That place might still exist. The controversy isn't just about whether this pillar exists. It's about what finding it would mean for everyone who's ever doubted the Bible's historical accuracy. Mount Sodom rises from the desert floor like a monument to destruction. This isn't ordinary rock. It's pure salt, stretching for miles along the Dead Sea's western shore. The mountain itself tells a story of catastrophic change. Now, geologists confirmed that this entire region was once lush and green, exactly as Genesis describes it. But there's something else on Mount Sodom that doesn't fit the normal geological patterns. Near the southern edge stands a formation that has puzzled travelers for centuries. A tall, narrow column of salt that looks remarkably human when viewed from certain angles. Local Bedouins have called it Lot's wife for generations. Tour guides point it out to visitors. But here's what most people don't know about this pillar. The Jewish historian Josephus claimed he saw it with his own eyes in the 1st century A.D. He wrote these exact words, "Lot's wife was changed into a pillar of salt, for I have seen it, and it remains at this day." This wasn't folklore to Josephus. This was eyewitness testimony. But Josephus wasn't the only ancient source to document this discovery. Think about the timing. Josephus lived during the lifetime of people who knew Jesus personally. He was documenting what his generation accepted as historical fact. If this pillar was just a natural formation that people imagined looked human, why would a serious historian stake his reputation on it? The location matches perfectly with the biblical account. Genesis tells us Lot's family fled toward Zoar, believed to be at the southeastern end of the Dead Sea. Mount Sodom sits in exactly that region. The geography lines up with surgical precision. Salt doesn't just randomly form human-shaped pillars. The process requires specific conditions that scientists are only now beginning to understand. When salt deposits are exposed to wind and rain over thousands of years, they erode in predictable patterns. Most formations become rounded, weathered, and shapeless. But this pillar has maintained its distinctive form through millennia of desert storms. Geologists call formations like this salt chimneys, but they can't explain why this one looks so remarkably human. Dr. Amos Frumkin from Hebrew University has spent decades studying the Dead Sea's salt formations. His research reveals something extraordinary about the timing of these geological changes. The salt layers in this region show evidence of a massive, sudden transformation that occurred roughly 4,000 years ago. The same time frame biblical scholars place the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Most recent archaeological excavations near the Dead Sea have uncovered evidence of a civilization that was suddenly and completely abandoned. Tal el Hammam, a massive Bronze Age city, shows signs of intense heat damage and a thick layer of ash that matches the biblical timeline perfectly. The destruction wasn't gradual, it was instantaneous. Archaeologist Dr. Stephen Collins found pottery that had been heated to over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Human bones scattered as if people were running when disaster struck. Most telling of all, a layer of salt and sulfur covering everything, exactly as Genesis describes. Yet the most compelling evidence isn't what they found in the ruins. Early Christian pilgrims wrote detailed accounts of visiting this salt pillar, as Byzantine texts from the 4th century describe it as a landmark that guided travelers through the desert. Medieval maps mark its location. Islamic scholars referenced it in their geographical writings. For over 1,500 years, this formation has been consistently identified as Lot's wife by people from different cultures, different religions, and different time periods. That's not coincidence. That's historical continuity. Satellite imaging has revealed something that changes everything we thought we knew about this pillar. NASA's high-resolution photographs show that this salt formation sits at the exact center of what appears to be an ancient impact zone. Circular patterns in the Earth radiate outward from this location, suggesting an event of tremendous force occurred here thousands of years ago. A ground-penetrating radar has detected unusual mineral compositions directly beneath the pillar. The salt here contains trace elements that don't match the surrounding geological formations. It's as if this specific spot experienced a different type of transformation than the rest of Mount Sodom. But the most shocking discovery came when scientists analyzed the pillar's internal structure. Dr. Sarah Chen, a geochemist from Tel Aviv University, used advanced spectroscopy to examine salt samples from the formation. Her findings defied conventional geological wisdom. The crystalline structure shows signs of rapid formation, not the slow process that creates normal salt deposits. What we're seeing suggests this salt formed under extreme conditions, Dr. Chen reported. The molecular arrangement indicates exposure to intense heat and pressure that would be impossible under normal circumstances. The implications are staggering. If this pillar formed through natural geological processes, it should show the same gradual layering as other salt formations in the region. Instead, it appears to have crystallized almost instantaneously. Yet, the most disturbing evidence isn't geological, it's biological. Carbon dating of organic material found within the salt layers has produced results that mainstream satellite imaging has revealed something that changes everything we thought we knew about this pillar. NASA's high-resolution photographs show that this salt formation sits at the exact center of what appears to be an ancient impact zone. And circular patterns in the Earth radiate outward from this location, suggesting an event of tremendous force occurred here thousands of years ago. Ground-penetrating radar has detected unusual mineral compositions directly beneath the pillar. The salt here contains trace elements that don't match the surrounding geological formations. It's as if this specific spot experienced a different type of transformation than the rest of Mount Sodom. But the most shocking discovery came when scientists analyzed the pillar's internal structure. Dr. Sarah Chen, a geochemist from Tel Aviv University, used advanced spectroscopy to examine salt samples from the formation. Her findings defied conventional geological wisdom. The crystalline structure shows signs of rapid formation, not the slow process that creates normal salt deposits. What we're seeing suggests this salt formed under extreme conditions, Dr. Chen reported. The molecular arrangement indicates exposure to intense heat and pressure that would be impossible under normal circumstances. The implications are staggering. If this pillar formed through natural geological processes, it should show the same gradual layering as other salt formations in the region. Instead, it appears to have crystallized almost instantaneously. Yet the most disturbing evidence isn't geological, it's biological. Carbon dating of organic material found within the salt layers has produced results that mainstream archaeology struggles to explain. Microscopic traces of what appears to be human tissue have been detected deep within the formation's core. Dr. Michael Rampino, a specialist in catastrophic geology, examined these findings. His conclusion sent shockwaves through the scientific community. The organic compounds we've identified are consistent with rapid preservation under extreme conditions. This isn't fossilization. It's something else entirely. What's your preference? Archaeology struggles to explain. Microscopic traces of what appears to be human tissue have been detected deep within the formation's core. Dr. Michael Rampino, a specialist in catastrophic geology, examined these findings. His conclusion sent shockwaves through the scientific community. The organic compounds we've identified are consistent with rapid preservation under extreme conditions. This isn't fossilization. It's something else entirely. Within weeks of Dr. Chen's findings being published, her research was quietly removed from academic databases. Not to the official explanation. Further review required for verification. The Israeli Antiquities Authority suddenly restricted access to Mount Sodom, citing safety concerns and ongoing geological instability. Tour groups that had visited the pillar for decades were rerouted. Photography permits were revoked without explanation. Dr. Chen herself became strangely silent about her discoveries. When contacted by international media, she would only say that her research was incomplete and required additional study. Her laboratory at Tel Aviv University was relocated to a secure facility with limited public access. Mini cliffhanger, but someone leaked the real reason for the sudden secrecy. A former government archaeologist, speaking on condition of anonymity, revealed that the organic compounds found in the salt pillar weren't just human tissue. They were perfectly preserved human tissue. DNA analysis had been conducted in secret, and the results were so extraordinary that they threatened to overturn fundamental assumptions about biblical history. They found cellular structure that shouldn't exist after 4,000 years, the source revealed. The preservation was so complete that it looked like the transformation happened yesterday, not millennia ago. The implications were clear. If this pillar really contained the preserved remains of a human being who had been instantly transformed into salt, it would provide physical proof of a biblical miracle. That kind of evidence would change everything. Yet the cover-up only made the truth more obvious to those who knew where to look. Independent researchers began documenting the pillar before access was completely restricted. High-definition photographs, detailed measurements, and geological surveys were conducted in secret. What they discovered matched the biblical account with terrifying accuracy. The pillar stands approximately 5 feet 6 inches tall, the average height of a woman from the Bronze Age. Its proportions are remarkably human-like, with what appears to be a head, torso, and the suggestion of flowing robes. Most unsettling of all, it faces away from Mount Sodom, as if looking back toward where Sodom and Gomorrah once stood. The cover-up revealed something the authorities never intended to expose. This wasn't just about one pillar of salt, and it was about a pattern of biblical sites being systematically hidden from public view. Jesus himself referenced Lot's wife in Luke 17:32 with just 3 words: "Remember Lot's wife." He didn't say, "Remember the story," or "Remember the lesson." He said, "Remember her," as if she was a real person whose fate served as a permanent warning. The timing of Christ's reference is crucial. He spoke these words while teaching about the end times, about sudden judgment, about the importance of not looking back when God calls you forward. If Lot's wife was just a metaphor, why would Jesus treat her as historical fact? But there's something else about this pillar that connects to prophecy in ways no one expected. Ancient Jewish texts describe Lot's wife as being preserved as a sign for future generations, while the Talmud states that her pillar would remain until the end of days, as a witness to God's judgment and mercy. If these texts are accurate, then this formation isn't just archaeological evidence. It's a prophetic marker. The Dead Sea region itself holds prophetic significance. Ezekiel 47 describes this area being transformed in the last days, with fresh water flowing from Jerusalem to heal the Salt Sea. The fact that Lot's wife stands in this exact location takes on new meaning when viewed through the lens of biblical prophecy. Yet the most profound spiritual implication isn't about the past. It's about what's coming. Modern Israel's establishment in 1948 marked the beginning of what many biblical scholars call the fig tree generation, the final generation before Christ's return. Also, the fact that this pillar has been rediscovered and scientifically verified during this same period cannot be coincidental. Throughout Scripture, God uses physical landmarks to mark spiritual truths. The stones Joshua set up after crossing the Jordan, the altar Abraham built on Mount Moriah, the empty tomb that proved Christ's resurrection. Each served as tangible evidence of invisible realities. The transformation of Lot's wife wasn't just punishment, it was preservation. God didn't erase her from history. He made her part of it forever. Recent seismic studies reveal that the Dead Sea region is becoming increasingly unstable. The same geological forces that once destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah are building pressure beneath the Earth's surface. Scientists predict major seismic activity in this area within the next decade. Yet if their predictions are correct, the Pillar of Lot's wife may not stand much longer. The very forces that created it thousands of years ago might soon reclaim it. But there's something else happening in this region that biblical scholars are calling unprecedented. Archaeological teams working in secret have discovered evidence of at least 5 ancient cities in the Dead Sea Valley that show signs of simultaneous destruction. Not just Sodom and Gomorrah, but an entire civilization wiped out in a single catastrophic event. The destruction pattern matches exactly what Genesis describes: fire from heaven, complete annihilation, and a landscape transformed into a wasteland of salt and sulfur. Modern geology confirms that such an event could happen again. Yet the most terrifying discovery isn't about the past destruction. Satellite imagery has detected unusual heat signatures beneath the Dead Sea. Underground temperatures are rising at rates that defy normal geological explanation. Some researchers believe the region is experiencing the same conditions that preceded the ancient catastrophe. Dr. Rampino's final report, leaked just before his research was classified, contained a chilling conclusion. The geological conditions that enabled the biblical destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah are not only possible today, they appear to be actively developing. But the government's response to this information reveals they know something the public doesn't. Emergency evacuation plans have been quietly developed for the entire Dead Sea region. Military installations have been relocated away from the area. International archaeological teams have been ordered to suspend all operations and remove their equipment. The timing of these discoveries cannot be ignored. We're living in what many biblical scholars call the final generation before Christ's return. Ancient prophecies are being fulfilled at an unprecedented rate. Israel became a nation again in 1948. Jerusalem was recaptured in 1967. The Temple Mount is being prepared for reconstruction. And now physical evidence of biblical judgment has been scientifically verified. But there's another layer to this story that connects directly to modern events. The Dead Sea is dying. Water levels have dropped over 100 feet in the past century. Sinkholes are appearing throughout the region as underground salt deposits dissolve. And environmental scientists warn that the entire ecosystem is collapsing. The same body of water that preserved the evidence of ancient judgment is itself facing destruction. It's as if the Earth is preparing for another transformation. Yet recent discoveries suggest this environmental collapse isn't accidental. Geological surveys have revealed that the Dead Sea sits atop a massive underground chamber filled with pressurized gases and superheated minerals. This chamber extends beneath the exact locations where Sodom and Gomorrah once stood. Seismic monitoring equipment has detected rhythmic pressure changes in this underground system. The pattern suggests a buildup toward a major release event. Computer models predict that when this pressure reaches critical levels, the results would mirror the biblical account with terrifying accuracy. But the most shocking revelation comes from analyzing the timing of these pressure changes. The seismic activity follows a pattern that correlates with significant prophetic events in modern Israel. Pressure spikes occurred during the Six-Day War in 1967, the Yom Kippur War in 1973, and the Gulf War in 1991. Each time Israel faced existential threats, the underground activity intensified. This suggests a connection between spiritual and physical realities that science cannot explain. The same divine hand that once rained judgment on Sodom and Gomorrah appears to be stirring beneath the earth once again. The pillar of Lot's wife stands as a silent witness to all of this, and she represents everyone who tries to live with one foot in God's kingdom and one foot in the world. Her fate serves as a warning that partial commitment leads to complete destruction. But here's what they're not telling you about the recent geological surveys. The underground activity isn't random. It's following the exact same pattern as the ancient destruction. And according to classified seismic data obtained through leaked government documents, the next major event isn't a matter of if. The pressure readings indicate critical levels will be reached within the next 7 years, the same time frame that biblical prophecy suggests for the final tribulation period. Lot's wife looked back at a world under judgment and became part of that judgment forever. Today, we're all being given the same choice she faced. Don't look back.